So energies. Let's talk about the good energies. So thank God physicists, mostly in Russia, because Russia, thank God, didn't have any money, so they couldn't sell the public of Russia pharmaceutical drugs. So they actually had to come up with ways to help them that didn't cost much money. So they went into the realm of energy. And so the great teachers in the world of energy medicine, the birthplace of it in modern times, and of course it goes back thousands of years in some of the traditional cultures, were the Russians. And so when I'm working with the Russians on these technologies, it always stuns me. They have to teach me the language before I can even understand the process. Now the Germans, thank God, fairly smart, they went up there and started to learn from the Russians and bring some of this back in. So the two leading authorities currently in the world are the Russians and Germans on this one. And so when Anna Maria, years ago, we found the hottest, most incredible technology to prevent radiation that all of us are being bombarded with as we speak here, and all of you around the world, no matter where you're sitting, we had to get protection devices. Because 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you are being bombarded by electromagnetic frequencies that are bad for you. Now, we've already talked about the moving current of correct energy. Has no beginning, has no end, always moves, an endless continuum. But what happens now when you stick a cell phone to the biologically correct energies? Or you live near a cell tower, or you sit and gaze at a television set or your computer all day long. Or how about if you're living in the room where the electrical panel coming into your house is? Or the high-tension wires? Or maybe you live in the neighborhood where the community's high-tension wires are there. Do you think that may be abnormal for you? And do you think we should consider this as being something we bring into the realm of health? And do you think we should protect ourselves with things like these pulses today? It's up to you. I think so. And that's why we speak about these things. So energy from nature, the universe, is always pro-biology, pro-spirituality, and pro-emotion. Abnormal aggravate the entire biological and emotional system of the body. So a lot of people that are running around a little crazy today are being bombarded by negative renegade electric. And a lot of you that feel uncomfortable, and I'll give you a great story. Here I am, this health authority, Anne Marie is a health authority, and our older son, who's now 40, always was calm, always was bright. We never had a problem. This kid never gave us a problem. But when he'd get into his room, he would be up in the middle of the night. Totally unlike him. We'd go out on a holiday or to his grandparents, slept like a rock. So here I am telling all of you about how bad electric is, but didn't bother to check my son's room. So I go in, and of course, there's cinder blocks the house is made of, and boys seem to still be our primal ancestors. They like to be on double-decker beds. How many of you notice that? So as all young kids, he climbed up and stayed on the double-decker bed, and here his head is against the cinder block wall, and I look on the other side, and there is the entire electric panel for my house. I went in with a Gauss meter, and I checked that. I was stunned. It went off the scale. It went beyond 10. It could have been 20. We moved him out of the room, never had a problem again with him. But who, listening today, thinks about these things? How about the Pentagon technology that we're going to be speaking about here in panels? The 4G and now the 5G. How about the device they stuck on almost all of your homes today? Do you think this may be throwing the trillions of years of evolutionary energy that was created off? Do you think humans today are destroying the essence of who we are and where we come from? And do you think it's time we say, no, thank you? Or do you think we just want to go along because it's a little too hard to say no. You may be called names like weird and odd, and later sick and dying. So maybe a little odd is not bad because it prevents the sick and dying part of the story. We start to look at what we're made of. Look at cells. Cells are frequencies. 100 trillion cells you have in your body. Any of you that don't think you're rich, you are amazingly rich. You have more than the Rothschilds. 100 trillion cells in your body. And those cells, when we measure them, when guests come to us at Hippocrates, we do two very, very, very advanced studies on them. The first is CyberScan, where in a matter of about 1 minute, we pick up 100,000 parameters, looking at the energy fields of every cell that make bones, that make every organ system of the body. We look at the emotional disorders and the pathways that may create those. And this all comes to us in 60 seconds. Another 60 seconds, we take the Russian technology, BioWell. We actually look at the electromagnetic biofrequency field of every organ system of the body and the way you're aligned. Are your energy fields aligned the way they should? And then we compare them to a highly sophisticated medical blood test. Now from this, I petition any doctors listening today, please come to Doctors' Days and study this with us. Because sadly, your patients, those that depend upon you, without this information, are going to suffer unnecessarily. There's no need when this is available. And what you're going to say is, oh, it's not in the data. Oh, it's not approved by the Fraud and Drug Administration. But maybe it works. What do you think they said to Einstein? Who are you? What do you know? The theory of relativity. That's what I know. What do you think they said to all of these people throughout history? You're crazy. They all laughed, and thank God, we're committed to the values that they believe in. And I have never worked with a sick person, which I've been doing by hundreds of thousands, that when they commit to their values, do not heal themselves. Because they relax themselves and come out of the biological ideology that has crippled your emotions and cut you off from God. The beauty of the 21st century diet. Where does the most life come from? Things that are literally growing. Sure, I'm a big fan of plant-based diets, but most of the plant-based diets you're eating here in the dead of winter were plucked from the ground weeks ago in sunny places like California. And sure, they're much better than taking that and cooking it, where it's denatured and, by the way, carcinogenic. There are 3 reasons we're going to speak about in my conference on Monday on the carcinogenic effect of cooking food that, by the way, are mainstream and in the literature, but nobody seems to read it. But sprouts, look at them. About 10 years ago, Anna Marie and I sat down and wanted to figure out how many sprouts we ate on a daily basis. And some of these sprouts we actually juice and consume in juices. It was between 6,000 and 8,000 sprouts a day. Now listen to this, people. That's not a lot, by the way. That's average. If you're sick, you may need more than that. Every one of these little seeds, as you notice here, grow into a mother plant that produces hundreds, if not thousands, of seeds. The power of energy that it requires to take a baby little infant seed and create a mother plant that creates thousands of seeds, and you're taking 5, 6, 10,000 of these? Let's give nature a big hand. Honest to God. No, I think we should saute them. Dr. Schmook said if you saute them in a certain way, the more like the big joke years ago was they had me debate the woman who said, when you cook a tomato, it has more things in it than when it's raw. So I said, now how is that possible? So when you cook something, I used to think you killed it and denatured it. You're telling me you manifest things that weren't there? Hallelujah! How about you're destroying the things that are there? If I took you and cooked you, how would you look? Well, that's different. Oh, is it? How many of you would be talking and dancing if you were cooked? You know, the thing I like about speaking to groups globally is I grab you by the neck and I squeeze it till you can't breathe anymore. And I hope you're gasping for air at the end of this conversation. Because if you're not, you shouldn't have been sitting here with me. You're taking up space. We've got to change, man. We don't radically change, we're going to go down. We are going down. People are suffering unnecessarily. The end of humanity is coming, and you're having tea parties around the world. Wake up. This is a 21st century food. Well, I don't like the taste. You think I like the taste of that? Right here in the New York area, I used to hang out with my grandfather at White Castle. I used to eat 10 White Castle hamburgers. Have you ever seen a White Castle hamburger? Marron. And the bread was so white, even in the middle of winter, you had to put sunglasses on before you could eat it. That wasn't enough. Then we'd go over to Carvel ice cream and have double-deckers. And then we were thirsty, we'd have to have some soda to wash it down. So all of it was stuck in my throat. Sprouts? My mouth waters now. Once you enlist yourself into the universe, you resonate with the universe. The things you struggle with today is because you're still resisting. You follow me? Mandela, loved Mandela. Mandela realized true power came from love and acceptance. It did not come from resistance and anger. And the same goes for people fighting disease. And the same goes for those who want good relationships. And the same goes for humanity. It's love. And love comes from being fueled by energy. If we don't have the energy, we don't have the love, we don't have the consciousness, and we do not have the ability, should we have the ability to be well, we become compost, rightfully become compost. Because the planet, the mother, is watching us and asking, can I sustain this species any longer? Should we now regain some respect? The creatures with the greatest ability in the universe have destroyed the gift that we've been given. Back in 1975, I had just joined the team. I became familiar with Dr. Rick Ricketts. He knew about raw food 15 to 20 years before I did, living food. He called me up. He was the father of modern orthodontics. If you go to school and become an orthodontic physician, surgeon, you study his book still. He and his wife Bonnie called me and said, listen, we have the professor from Russia that's the world's leading authority on energy photography. Let's photograph some food. I said, wow, that sounds like a great idea. Until I realized it costs $1,500 a food. I said, I'll donate one. I should have said, I'll donate 20. And what we learned from that is one sprout that the average person should be having 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 of a day. The energy field emits 2 feet in every direction from it. Then one of my best friends and colleagues who passed a couple of years ago, Dr. Hunt, photographed people eating these foods in 1983. You may get on the internet and see the presentation I made about 15 years ago showing those films. And as people who lived on the dead and dying Western diet, who admitted no electromagnetic frequency, no energy, and by the way, many of them sucked energy in from the atmosphere, the environment around themselves, almost energy vampires, immediately as a young man's Adam's apple went up and down, started to permeate more and more energy. That at the end of eating a salad and drinking a juice made of sprouts, the energy was emitting many inches out from the human body. What does that teach us? And I didn't say 2003, I said 1983. The future of nutrition is what we're now talking about. Not how many proteins, how many vitamins, how many minerals. Guess what? The food with the highest energy have the highest protein. The Hippocrates living food diet is the highest protein diet in the world. Because energy creates matter and atoms. The highest vitamins, the highest minerals, the highest essential fats. And most important, the most important medicine ever discovered, called phytochemicals. Listen closely, people. Everyone's trying to sell you something. I'm telling you the truth. Phytochemicals in the history of man's biology. We've never discovered something more impressive on preventing and reversing disease than the phytochemicals we find in raw plant-based food. That comes because the food still has energy that comes from the multiple universes, that connects you to the multiple universes, and that endless river that flows. Relax, jump in, and become part of it. Don't try to swim upstream. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So when you start to look at people, these are just some people. This young boy here, poor kid's 20 years old, comes to us, had a stroke last year. You think we would have seen that 50 years ago? Poor kid was just out of his teens, had a stroke. But look at the diets we're on today. Look at the emotional stress. Kids are up 12 o'clock at night trying to accomplish nonsense academic work that doesn't teach them anything. They're literally eating fast food, not exercising. They have no time to exercise because they're in front of their computer, the little one you hold in your hand all day long now. We now know that your IQ dramatically plummets if you just casually use a computer. 3.5 hours a week. And after 5 years, you may go as low as 10 points less in intelligence. And we think these things are expanding our awareness. Renegade electric. Digital. Digital makes the brain confused. You don't see it, but these images that look clearer to you are little square boxes by the tens of thousands that are projecting into your brain. And your poor brain is doing this. Everything was analog before, moving like what? The river. Now we're machine gunning the brain. And must understand that most of this came from war technology. Pentagon technology. Oh, Brian, that's a little extreme. I would love you listening here in the room and any of you in the world to challenge one word I say. As a matter of fact, I will do a debate with any professor, any doctor, anywhere in the world on these subjects. I welcome you to challenge me on this one. Because we don't have time to wait anymore. We've got to take no prisoners and move forward. I have 4 kids, 7 grandkids, and I love 8 billion people on this earth. And it's time we do something. This poor whole family gets well. Comes with her daughters, her father, who laid around, couldn't move, in the right-hand corner there, had Lyme's disease. Everyone's running around trying to get rid of Lyme's disease. You know how many people I've seen get rid of Lyme's disease at Hippocrates? Because if you don't plug into energy, all of these diseases suck the energy out of you. That's why people are laying around on couches. And the list goes on. And there are thousands of these people. And this is not to impress you. It's to show you, look at these people. Do they look like you? Do they look like your husband, your children, your wife, your best friend? They're no different than you. You're just blessed by God if you weren't diagnosed with the disease now. We're the sickest people who have ever lived in the history of humanity. Lying to you, and telling you we live longer than we've ever lived. And out of the second breath The CDC says babies born today will die 5 years sooner than their parents. You talk about talking out of two sides of their mouth. They are literally doing it.